Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, I was going to start by singing, but then you don't want to leave, so we won't do that. So, again, thank you, President Hagstrom. Appreciate the opportunity to share. And I did have an opportunity last spring to share on behalf of my late wife, Andy, and the scholarship that we started in her name. And I know some know our story, some don't, but I'll just share really quick. So those that don't know, my wife was diagnosed back in September of 2015 with brain cancer. And we have 4 children, so I'll start there and then I'm not much of a history buff. I actually pass history, but I can't give you all the history all the way back. Like, President Hagstrom, I think you could give us every detail about every history lesson along the way. But the history of just our family and just a quick background. So we've got a son who's graduating this year. He's a senior, Noel. Aaron is a sophomore. Ryan is an 8th grader, and Kate is a 5th grader at Holy Spirit. All our kids went through Holy Spirit and then transitioned over. But Andy was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2015 and went on almost a 5-year journey before she passed in June of 2020. And again, a lot of you very supportive all the way along in our journey. So, got to follow my notes. So, anyways, so the journey that we went on, obviously, leaning on the good Lord and the faith community of the JPII schools really had a major impact on ourselves and our family. And I will just say, I didn't think I'd be emotional with some of this stuff either, but so Andy and I spoke about things of what it would look like after if she were to pass, what type of legacy she'd like to leave and the impact she'd want to have on our children and others in the community. And being a school teacher, or going to school to be a school teacher, and then she really became a full-time mom. She was a caregiver to our kids. She really wanted to impact kids. Sean Hagstrom and Andy actually taught a little bit, did some work with the little deacons, and she loved her experience with Mrs. Hagstrom. But really the goal when Andy passed, and as we talked about it, was really how do you give back? I mean, I could tell you some God stories, and it's some of the miracles that happened along the journey over that, what is now the last 7 years since she was diagnosed. But there's so many stories, and I mean, I won't get into them tonight, but if you ever catch me at the right moment and I get talking about them, there's some powerful moments of how God moved through that journey. But we as a family really just wanted to give back to a community in some way, because so many of the JPII families gave to us. And they gave us their time, they gave us their money during Andy's cancer journey, and that's really blessed our family, and we're grateful for everyone's kindness. And I think that's what the scholarship really is a reflection of. It's a reflection of a community's love and a community's generosity. And that's really a reflection of who my wife was, Andy. I mean, if you ever had a chance to meet her, have a conversation with her, every time you meet her, you look into those beautiful eyes, and she always just had a loving heart. She'd listen to you, and she'd just find ways to serve and give back. And I think a number of people would say, they said, I go into a conversation with Andy, and all she did was listen. And she would listen with her heart, and every time I walked away from a conversation with your wife, I always felt better. And she was such a blessing. And there's Roxanne over there. Roxanne did a story on her as well. But in a way, I believe Andy's spirit will be present through this gift that are given to the scholarship recipients, the way to continue to honor her life. I remember going through those final weeks when she was on hospice, and it was something God just kept repeating, going through in my prayer time. But I always told her, I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to honor you the rest of the days of my life here on planet Earth. And I fail and struggle, but you do as Andy always said, do your best and let God do the rest. And Bishop said I didn't have to be perfect. When I was at the Memorial Mass last week, he said that Christianity is the most exclusive club. We only allow sinners in. So I'm really thankful that the club let me in. But it was Andy's motto. She always talked about do your best and let God do the rest. I read this off the Dynamic Catholic feed, and this I kind of will wrap it up because otherwise I get rambling, and then Paul Noah, he'll shut me off because Paul always teases me to give some inspirational speech. But this I pulled off the Dynamic Catholic feed this morning, and I believe it's fitting for this room in here tonight because you all are givers. You're in this room because you're givers, and you got great hearts, and that's who Andy was, and that's what really this scholarship represents is the love and the heart and the generosity of people. But it says, this comes from Dynamic Catholic this morning, it says, one person can only do so much in the world, but with all these good people acting together, with Christ himself as our head, is there anything at all we can't accomplish? And I think we know the answer. Because it's through Christ we can do all things, through Christ who gives us strength. So I would just tell you, it's an honor to be a part of this school. It's an honor. I was not an alumni. I grew up in small town Little Halleck, Minnesota. Andy, got Tony back there. Tony grew up in Halleck. There's Stephen. We got Geneva Bondi here, or Geneva Noah. But Andy grew up in Stephen, and so we weren't alumni. But I look forward to having all four of our children be alumni of Shanley and of the JPII school system. And it's definitely a blessing to be a part of a great organization. Obviously, I got asked to chair the advancement committee, and I let them know the first night I have no clue what I'm doing. The good news, I still don't know what I'm doing. But it is a blessing to be able to serve and give back as we are all deacons. So with that, may God bless you all, and go Deacons.